But alright, chat. I got a MandJTV video. 151 Pokemon that need new types. I'm interested. No cap. Hella interested. So, without further ado, because the camp definitely did help. Bro, it definitely didn't, bro. There was a lot going on. There was definitely a lot going on. It was great, though. But alright, let's get into it, chat.
This one. Ekans and
Let me know if it
Arbok
covers
could
my
gain
voice.
the Dark type. Arbok in particular is vengeful and utilizes fear as a combat technique. Plus then we'd actually have
like Arbok
Kanto
is
Dark
slept on,
types.
I'm not gonna lie.
Cleffa, Clefairy, and Clefable could be normal types since they were for many years. So technically not like a new type, but what's old is new again. Like low-rise jeans. I think I'm very
No.
out of touch with the fashion world.
Definitely
Ninetales
not.
has several secondary types
Ghost.
that could work. Fairy
Ghost.
because its Alolan form has it.
No.
Psychic because it has mystical powers and even utilizes mind control and hypnotism. My personal favorite though
Ghost.
is Ghost
There we
because
go.
it lives for 1,000 years, is said to be 9 reincarnated saints, and vengefully inflicts curses on those who touch its tail.
Yo, chat, why does Ninetales have so much lore to not really be relevant in the anime?
Psyduck and Golduck could be Psychic type. This is one of the more infamous examples in this video. Always tormented by headaches, it uses psychic powers, but it is not known if it intends to do
Yeah,
so. A
what's good,
Golduck is an
Sanaya?
adept swimmer. It sometimes joins
How you been?
competitive
How you
swimmers
been?
in training. It uses psychic powers when its forehead shimmers with light. And Psyduck
Doesn't
has
Golduck also
frickin'
learn
Psy
Psychic?
in its name. There's gonna be a lot of Pokemon in this video where there's a clear reason why they don't have the type that I'm suggesting. They already have 2 types that make as much or more sense, like Charizard with Dragon.
Right.
Psyduck and Golduck are not one of those Pokemon. You could just slap Psychic on there so easily. Krabby and Kingler could add the Bug type. Crabs are bugs. The Bug type encompasses arthropods, a phylum that includes
bit of a
insects,
stretch.
arachnids, and crustaceans. We already have several bug-type crustacean Pokemon, and crabs are the most famous crustaceans of all. Voltorb and Electrode could gain the Steel type. For many years, I felt that just because they looked like Pokeballs
Hear me out,
didn't
chat, hear me out.
necessarily mean
Raise Electro's defense and add a steel typing. Is that not busted? Is that not just a little bit busted? Just a tad bit OP. So just a little bit. Just a little bit.
that they were made of the same material, which by all accounts appears to be some kind of metal. But then we got their
You
Hisuian
agree?
forms, wooden to match the Pokeballs used in Legends Arceus, and thus they were grass type.
completely understand
Therefore, if
everything.
they're matching the material of the time, then they could
came in at, like, a
absolutely be metal
off
themselves.
video.
Happiny, Chansey, and Blissey could all be fairy type. Not only are they pink, which is nice, but
They're
they're
not
centered
fairy?
around happiness and healing, a common theme among fairy types. Pinsir could add the fighting type. It's the counterpart of bug fighting Heracross, and the two are based on different kinds of beetles used in insect fighting. Plus, in every game until Legends ZA, it learns more fighting attacks by level up than bug attacks, usually far more. If you include the non-damaging Detect, it's still more fighting moves than bug moves. Gyarados could be dragon type. Magikarp and Gyarados are inspired by a legend about how carp that leapt over the Dragon Gate would become dragons. Lance and Claire use it. It looks like a
Okay.
Chinese dragon.
Wait. He left something out that's very important about that. With that legend of the goldfish reaching the top of the waterfall, the dragon then flying type it makes sense for Gyarados. When the goldfish reaches the top, it turns into a dragon and flies away. Like the dragon doesn't, like the goldfish doesn't just become a dragon and it's just a land dragon. It becomes a dragon and flies. Like it like very canon in the tale to fly away. Flying makes a lot of sense. I remember when people would get robbed from playing Pokemon Go in like 2016. I think I was one of the people. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like that game by itself was a scam, bro. Everyone was so invested.
Is a dragon. And yet, it is a flying type, and when it mega evolves, it turns into a dark type.
Yeah, dark type makes no sense.
What are we doing? Ridiculous. Kabuto and Kabutops could be bug
This
type.
mega definitely fell
They're
off.
based on trilobites and Europterids, respectively, which are extinct arthropods. And as already discussed, arthropod equal bug. Aerodactyl could be dragon type. Big flying lizard-looking monster. Lance uses it, and it doesn't really have anything rocky about it until it mega evolves. Dratini, Dragonair, and Dragonite would all work as water types. All three are explicitly stated to live in the water, and Dragonite is even called the Sea Incarnate. Mewtwo could be dark type. Mewtwo is far too powerful.
Ooh,
we have
psychic
failed to
dark
curb
Mewtwo would be
its
crazy.
vicious tendencies. It's Mew, but stronger and crucially, meaner. So adding the dark type would have been perfect. Plus the dark type
they
is
didn't.
translated as the evil type in Japanese, and while the true villains of the Mewtwo story are the scientists who created it, he did kind of blow up some people. They arguably deserved it, but it's still kind of, that's a dark type thing still. As a nice balance to this, Mew works as a fairy type. Cute, sprightly, good-natured, and would now get a type advantage over Mewtwo. I've long felt Meganium could have been fairy type, even before its mega evolution. Its aroma calms aggressive feelings, which is the same thing Sylveon does.
Chat, is Mega Embor still firefighting? Because I'm not gonna lie, like when it come down to black and white, Embor was like, that was my nigga right there. Fire, and it was the only dual type starter in that generation. Like I feel like a lot of niggas hate on Embor just because, but they want to glaze the fuck out of Snivy. I kind of don't agree with that. Like I think my little pig deserves some love. You know what I mean? Like Embor is actually really fucking good. It definitely was like a anchor on my team. You know.
Politoed could gain the normal type. We'll never get a sound type because normal covers it. Exploud, Meloetta, Audino, Chatot, Obstagoon, DJ Rotom, and
Because they could just do the same thing with fairy type, because they just gave a bunch of fairy-like Pokemon the normal type. There's no way there's an explanation for every single character. No, it's 151. Look, this video is very nerded out, and I'm very invested. Hey, I'm super invested. No, not every single Pokemon. That'd be insane. It'd be like a 3-hour video, at least.
Hyper Voice, Boom Burst, Sing, most of the
react
other
to it,
moves,
though, most
soundproof
definitely.
blocks. I could go on, but you get the idea. If it's sound related and doesn't have another element overriding it,
This is
like
extremely
grass
nerdy.
whistle, then it's normal type. Most of Politoed's dex entries discuss its singing, calling, and croaking. It's noisy, so it's a sound type. I mean normal type. Actually, while we're here, let's do one fell swoop, knocking out all of the heavily sound-related Pokemon that are not already normal type, and thus could be. Those are Chingling, Chimecho, Kricketot, Kricketune, Maractus, Primarina, Kammo-o, Rillaboom, and Toxtricity.
Damn.
Umbreon could be poison type because when agitated, this Pokemon protects itself by spraying poisonous sweat
Never thought
from
you'd
its
get this deep.
pores. Fun fact, this is
Anything
a
can
reference to the
get
fact that Umbreon was poison type in the 1997 Nintendo Space World demo. Dunsparce and Dunsparce could be ground type, since they live underground and literally have drills for tails. Snubbull and Granbull could be normal type, because they were before. Plus, they're mostly just animals that happen to be a little pink. I feel like normal actually made more sense. Lugia could, nay, should be water type. Diving Pokemon. Guardian of the Seas.
Hold on, Lugia
Look
isn't
how much
water
freaking
type?
water there is when you find it. I said Psyduck and Golduck might be the most infamous examples in this video. Lugia probably passes them. Celebi could be fairy type. This is a fairy. Like, look at it. It's a little thing with wings. If it wasn't already grass psychic type, it would have been a fairy type once they added it. They just didn't want to, like, overwrite psychic. They could only overwrite normal. Be brave. Could have had a grass fairy. That's what it is. Haha! It is I.
Pre-ad.
Dealt with. Trapinch, Vibrava, and Flygon could all be bug types because they're based on antlions, an insect whose larval stage builds pit traps like
I didn't know
Trapinch,
that.
but once they metamorphose, they look more like dragonflies. But that's not all. They got a few that work. You could also argue normal because of the sounds Vibrava and Flygon's wings make.
A normal type
And of
Flygon
course,
be
flying
ass,
works
bro.
too, since they have wings and can fly. It's frickin' Flygon. Go Team Sky! There are actually quite a few Pokemon that fly using wings that could then, of course, be flying type Pokemon. There are reasons that they're not, of course. They might have two other types that make more sense, but not all of them do. And Levitate offers you kind of a way around this. But if they were flying type, they wouldn't need Levitate and could have a different ability. I'm not saying this should happen, but let's just go ahead and cover the Pokemon that could be flying type because they use wings to fly. They gotta have wings. They're just floating. Is that really flying? It's flying type, not floating type. Beedrill, Venomoth, Dustox, Volbeat, Illumise. Those last two ones are weird, by the way. Like, they're just pure bug. Why aren't they bug flying? They fly. Latias, Latios, Hydreigon, Volcarona, Reshiram, Zekrom, Decidueye, Vikavolt, Cutiefly, Rabombi, Drampaw, Flapple, Dreepy, Dracloak, Dragapult. Those last ones do have wings.
Wait, Drampaw
Their
can't
heads
fly.
are planes. The wings don't flap, but they're wings. Roaring Moon and Pheasantipity. Should they be flying type? Some of them, yes. Volbeat and Illumise, 100%. But this specific exercise is less about should and more could.
Drampaw does
There will be a lot in this
fly.
video.
Nigga, win in Pokemon Snap. Oh, nah, you lying. Hold on. Hold on. Wait, I'll get it right. Actually, you know what? We're gonna do this. Cause I gotta see a video. Hold on. Cause like, how would that work? Does he just float? Oh my gosh!
Angry Drampa. Alright, for this one.
Oh, no, that
you
was
have
shift
to
stream, my bad.
unlock Stunning Spot. If you don't know how, go look up Little Lost Deerling. Drampa.
Where's he at?
Drampa?
Where's he at?
Deerling will show up.
Where's he at?
Sawbuck will show up. Now, in this next area, we need to find Drampa. And we need to hit Drampa with the orb, and then we need Drampa.
Oh my god, he just floats. Well, Bulbasaur on his back.
We're gonna have to get a little farther. They're gonna have to hop off.
Wait, that's actually so adorable. He's just a cloud dragon, bro. Wait, that's actually so great.
That are definitely should.
Chat, that healed me a little
Corphish
bit.
and Crawdont are crayfish, which are arthropods and thus bug type. Lileep and Cradilly could be a couple things beyond grass and rock. They live on the seafloor, so water is a fair fit. But poison arguably works better, particularly for
Yeah.
Cradilly, since it melts
That
the
makes
prey
sense.
with a strong acid. Does that remind
pretty
you
sure
of
he has
another
poison type
grass
moves,
poison
too.
type? Anorith and Armaldo could be water type. Anorith lived in the sea, and while Armaldo moved to land, it still hunted in the sea. Plus, they always get at least one water move by leveling up. Milotic could be fairy type. Like previously discussed actual and potential fairy types, it excels at soothing negative emotions. Absol would frankly be really cool as a fairy type, especially Mega Absol with its wings. It warns of disasters to help, but is misunderstood as the cause of them, which feels like the perfect way to combine dark and fairy. Glalie could be rock type. Glalie has a body made of rock, which it hardens with an armor of ice. Nice and easy. Love Disc could be water
Pretty
fairy.
simple.
Pink, heart, love, duh. Cranidos and Rampardos could be steel type. This requires a bit
They're
of
not
explaining,
steel?
but I feel very strongly about this. Their counterparts,
I thought
Shieldon and
Glalie was Ice
Bastiodon, are indeed steel
Wait,
type.
was he
but
not?
they're
Is he not ice dark? He's probably just pure ice. Damn. Wait. Why doesn't Glalie have a second typing, bro? Maybe his Mega's ice dark, because I could have sworn that too. I don't know.
Their dex entries never explicitly state that they have any metal on their bodies, only that their faces are extremely hard, even harder than steel. Cranidos and Rampardos are the same. Cranidos' fossils are described as iron ball-like, and both have an entry that says its skull is as hard as iron. Rampardos even has one that says the same thing as the Bastiodon one I mentioned, that it's harder than steel. If Shieldon and Bastiodon get to be steel type because of their extremely hard heads, then why don't Cranidos and Rampardos get to be steel type for the exact same reason? Miss Magus could be psychic type because it is a witch, and witch Pokemon have been psychic type more than once. Drapion could be bug type.
That's true.
It was one in its pre-evolved form, and it didn't stop being a scorpion. It just got meaner. Finneon and Luminion must be fairy type. It's crazy that they're not. Their fins look like butterfly wings, and guess what fairies tend to have? Also, fairy kinda serves as the light type. What with dazzling gleam and light of ruin and moonlight and twinkle tackle, and these fish glow and have neon in their names. Luminion is luminous plus neon. Nothing about its name is even fish. These Pokemon are so forgettable, and maybe they wouldn't be if they'd gotten fairy type in Gen 6 like they should have. Electivire could be a fighting type, since it uses its electrified fist to beat down opponents.
I thought it was
Yanmega
fighting.
could be dragon type because it is a dragonfly. And sure, so is Yanma, but like, Yanmega's really got the dragon vibes, like the spikes, the teeth. It's pretty dragon. Cresselia could be fairy type. I know Psychic and Fairy have a lot in common, but this is the Moon Pokemon. And do you know what types of move Moonlight and Moonblast are? Samurott could and should have been fighting type. It is a warrior that wields a pointy weapon. Does that remind you of anyone else? Basculin could be dark type. It's basically Unnovan Carvana. I really think this only applies to the blue and red stripe versions though. White Stripe's gentle demeanor is better suited to just pure water and works better with its evolution into the not dark type Basculegion. Plus, if the originals were water dark, then it would actually be a type change from them to the regional variant. White Stripe Basculin is the only regional variant that doesn't change types from its original forms. Lilligant could be fairy type. Its counterpart Whimsicott got it, and it's unfortunate that it was left behind. And like several others discussed so far, its fragrance is relaxing. Good enough for me! Darmanitan could be fighting type. It doesn't have many different dex entries, but a common recurrence is mention of its punches obliterating dump trucks, which is a funny phrase considering the modern slang usage of the term dump truck. Fighting would then also create a nice duality with its Zen mode form's psychic type. However, that form also could have been a rock type, because it's literally a stone statue. No changes to the Galarian forms though. The standard mode is gentle and makes no mention of punches, and its Zen mode form is Ice Fire, which is insanely cool and perfect and should never be touched. I wanted that type for years. True. It was so cool when we got it. Yamask and Cofagrigus could be steel type. Galarian Yamask and Runerigus are ghost ground, because the hunk Yamask holds and the slab Runerigus inhabits are made of clay. While none of Unnovan Yamask's dex entries specify the material the mask is made of, Cofagrigus is stated to be covered in pure gold, and Yamask's mask appears similar. Steel is a bad name for what should be called the metal type, and gold is metal, so if you got gold on your body, you can be a steel type. Audino could be fairy type. Not only does it mega evolve into a fairy type, but it's associated with healing. Similarly, Alomomola could be fairy type because, once again, healing. Clink, Clang, and Klinklang could be electric type. They consistently get about as many electric moves as steel moves, are the only non-electric types to get the abilities plus and minus, and Klinklang literally has dex entries dedicated to talking about how they blast electricity. We're about 2/3 of the way through, so now seems like a good time to say that if you subscribe to my channel, you will get as happy as you were before. Like, you'll get less happy. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like 66% happy, like a percent Pokemon with. In fact, I think toward the end of Team Sky's Unova adventure, it was the only team member to actually know the move Fly. Braviary should be
Oh,
fighting
that's true.
type.
That's true.
I know it
Bro, I
took
learned that in my fucking X and Y playthrough, bro. But here's the thing about Golurk that like kind of put me down. He's so big, so I expected him to be beefy, but he's really like a glass cannon for real. Like one like physical attack and it's over for him. I'm not gonna lie, he died so easily during my playthroughs, bro. I wish he had more defense. He doesn't really have a lot of defense in comparison to his attack and speed, which is cool, right? But like, I don't know. I just expected like a beefy golem, but like, he really just dies super easily.
them a while to expand their definition of the fighting type beyond like humanoid Pokemon that do martial arts, but come on. The more scars they have, the more respect these brave soldiers of the sky get from their peers. For the sake of its friends, this brave warrior of the sky will not stop battling, even if injured. Also, it gets superpower as an Evo move, can learn close combat, reversal, and bulk up. It's essentially a different looking version of Mega Staraptor, a fighting flying type.
I forgot
And
Mega
yet,
Staraptor existed.
it's got the same typing as Unpheasant. Flabebe, Floette, and Florges could be grass type, literally flowers. Plus, then they'd actually get use out of their flower availability in single battles. More on that in my 21 Pokemon with useless abilities video. Skiddo and Gogoat could be normal type. I've trained myself out of it now, but for a long time, I would mistakenly call these Pokemon grass normal type because of Litleo, Pyroar, Helioptile, and Heliolisk.
I don't
They're
like
all
how
early
Pyroar's a
Kalos
normal type.
Pokemon with similar design aesthetics that are generally pretty regular animals. Plus, Helioptile,
I feel like the
Litleo, and
normal typing
Gogoat
with
were
it was,
all
like, such a
revealed
nerd.
before X and Y launched. They seemed like they should form a sort of trio, yet Skiddo and Gogoat end up pure grass. I don't know, kind of feels like normal should have been given to all of them or none of them. Clauncher and Clawitzer could be bug type. Pistol Shrimp, Arthropods, bug type. But do you know what else are arthropods that I didn't know were arthropods until I started writing this video? Barnacles. Therefore, Binacle and Barbaracle could also be bug type. Weirder
stretch.
fit for sure, but I don't control the taxonomy. Gumi could be water type. Its body is mostly water, which I guess is technically true for us as well. But it lives in wet places, it gets unhealthy if it dries out, and it learns like all the water moves. By extension, Sliggoo and Goodra could be water type as well. Sliggoo literally requires rain to evolve into Goodra. However, I think they could also be poison type. Sliggoo's mucus can dissolve anything, and while Goodra's slime is only ever referred to as sticky, not acidic, it'd be weird if only the pre-evolution could be dragon poison. But dragon water probably makes the most sense for all three. Incineroar could be
Dragon poison
fighting
would be
type.
cool.
Look, I know the last thing anyone wants is another firefighting starter, but it is a wrestler. Like, I would watch it fight a Halucha
Hear me out
on
though,
paper.
chat. Like high key, hot take, firefighting has been so goated in the starter, like for every starter Pokemon. Like Blaziken, Infernape, and then Emboar. Like, they're the three goats. I mean, not a lot of people like Emboar, which is cool, but like for Blaziken, especially Infernape, like firefighting is tough.
Toucanon could be fire type. Its signature move is Beak Blast, which involves heating up its beak to over 212 degrees Fahrenheit and literally causing burns.
Get the fuck
and
outta
sure,
here.
that's heat,
He should not be fire.
but it also gets flame charge, heat wave, overheat, and temper flare. It at least would have been more interesting than flying normal. It's like, yeah, it would have copied Talonflame, but like would have been more interesting than flying.
Wait. Toucanon is flying normal? I thought it was flying fighting. Why the hell is it not like, bro?
Flying normal, it's like, yeah, it would have copied Talonflame, but like from Gen 6 onward, the regional birds have interesting secondary typings, except Toucanon. It's just normal again, and that's
I thought it was flying
lame.
fighting.
Zarina could be fighting type. Kicking is its whole thing. Pyukumuku could be poison type. It's a little odd that its signature move, Purify, is poison type, while it is not. Also, it uses its guts to do stuff, which is like not explicitly poisonous, but I feel like it would be. Like if I threw my stomach acid at you, you'd be in bad shape. Comfey could be grass type because flowers again. Delmise could clearly be steel type. While it is technically the possessed seaweed controlling the anchor is more than enough for steel to make sense. In fact, it works so well that it got a signature ability, Steel Worker, which gives it the stab boost for its steel moves, such as its signature move, Anchor Shot, thus becoming the first Pokemon to kinda have 3 types. At least it does offensively. Levitate doesn't count, by the way. Like, oh yeah, Delmise is offensively 3 types, but Levitate Pokemon are defensively 3, and that's not true. Levitate only gives you the flying type's ground immunity, but none of the other weaknesses and resistances. Also, I wanted to mention Bombardier. Bombardier, like that's gotta be how it's said. It just like, it feels less natural to say. Does get its own version of Steel Worker for rock type attacks called Rocky Payload. But I am not giving it rock type in this video because it just carries the rocks. They aren't part of its body. Plus, it can have other abilities while Delmise always has Steel Worker. Necrozma could be dark type, at least in its base form. It is a dark prism that eats light. It is painfully, literally dark. And yet, here we are, just psychic. Zeraora could be fighting type. While its dex entries mainly discuss its claws and running, its signature move is Plasma Fists, and it gets a lot of fighting moves, both by level up and TM. And look, it's even wearing workout capris. Inteleon could be dark type. Dark is associated not just with aggression, but with stealth and sneak attack tactics. For example, Greninja is a ninja, and thus a dark type. Inteleon is inspired by secret agents, kind of the modern day ninjas, in a way. Definitely sneaky though, like Gigantamax Inteleon's literally a sniper. And like, that's like the epitome of sneak attack. They generally don't get to attack back. Clavipus and Grapploct should be water type. They are octopi that live in the sea. And they learn so many water moves. How are they just fighting? Galarian Corsola and Cursula should be rock type. Coral reefs are made of calcium carbonate, which is a mineral found in many kinds of rocks. It's secreted by the living coral polyps. And this is why Johtoan Corsola is a rock type. Galarian Corsola and Cursula are dead bleached coral, referring to coral reefs where the polyps are dead or dying, leaving behind only the calcium carbonate. You know, the rock part. The 4 Galar fossil Pokemon are the first non-rock type fossils, which I actually prefer. I've never really liked that every fossil Pokemon except these 4 are rock type, just because they were revived from a body part that had turned to stone. The reviving is reversing time back to when they were alive before any part of them turned to stone. And sure, some of them are kind of rocky, but definitely not all of them. However, there is precedent for them all being rock type. So while I'm glad it's not the case, rock would have made sense on Arctozolt, Dracozolt, Dracovish, and Arctovish. Hisuian Quillfish and Overquill could be water type. Probably for the best that they're not. I mean, like, it wouldn't be that different from regular Quillfish, and that, like, what would be the point then? But it makes sense. They're fully aquatic creatures. Armarouge and Ceruledge could be steel type, since their evolution involves donning a suit of metallic armor. Cloth could be bug type, the final arthropod of the video, and fittingly,
I forgot Cloth exists.
Wiglet and Wugtrio could be ground type, since much like their convergent counterparts, they live in the ground and never fully exit it. Palafin could be fighting type, at least in its hero form. How is it not? Earthworm could be ground type. Wait, what? Oh, sorry, Orthworm. The earthworm that eats earth and lives underground and learns more ground moves than steel moves could, shockingly, have been a ground type. Greavard could be fire type due to the candle on its head, but its evolution Houndstone makes more sense as a ground type. Maybe rock because of the stone on its head and stone in its name, but I think ground is better since it is a skeleton, and bone moves are almost always ground type. And to finish things out, the Violet Paradox Pokemon. They are robots, and excluding Miraidon, all their names start with iron, yet only 2 of them are steel types. Thus, Miraidon plus Iron Bundle, Hands, Jugulus, Moth, Thorns, Valiant, Leaves, and Boulder could all be steel type. It'd be less interesting this way, because then you just get a whole bunch of steel types, but I think that's more of a knock on the Violet Paradox Pokemon than anything else. Like, you gave us a bunch of robots with iron as their name. Like, the Scarlet ones are just so much more interesting. There are definitely more possible type changes out there, so let me know some of your favorites in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching. If you want to see a similar video where...
Alright, WMandJTV video.